Fellow Ghanaians, good morning. So 6 young women have died, dead and gone forever. They were not sick, they were not caught in war, they were not victims of some natural disaster. They simply went to the El-Wak Sports Stadium, chasing the dream of serving their country. They never went back home. They were among thousands who had gathered for a military recruitment exercise. Then there was a stampede that could easily have been avoided. We've all seen the videos, the endless human lines, the pushing, the chaos, the heat, the confusion. And this is not the first time this has happened in this country, but we must make it the last. Fellow Ghanaians, this is a big national disgrace. Every year, every time, the Ghana Armed Forces, police, fire service, immigration service, prison service, they open up recruitment. And every time we see the same pictures. Desperate young men and women standing in the scorching sun with envelopes, with their certificates, waiting to be screened by officials who either look overwhelmed even before the process begins or who are looking at them with such disdain. This outdated and dangerous system belongs to another century, not 2025. How is it that in all of this modern day, we still gather thousands of people in one spot to verify their papers and check their body size, their height, whatever? These young people died because we refuse to learn, because we think human life is cheap. The inherent absurdity of all of this is that this is a process that prioritizes checking one's physical appearance before even considering their intellectual ability. It is a system that assesses muscles before the mind. A system that believes the only way to recruit for the army is to herd people like cattle into a stadium and shout orders at them. And even more troubling, this exercise was meant to verify some documents and check body sizes and all of that. Yet no one seemed to question why verification couldn't be done online, safely, and then in stages. Fellow Ghanaians, this tragedy is the culmination of a deeper rot, a system that feeds off the desperation of the unemployed. The Ghana Armed Forces and other security agencies have been selling recruitment forms for years, and so many years. Last year alone, tens of thousands of people bought forms, even though only a few thousand will actually be selected. Each form costs between 200 cedis and 400 cedis. You do the math. That is close to 50 million cedis, about $3 million, just from the sale of forms. Who benefits from this? How do we justify turning the desperation of young unemployed youth into some revenue-generating venture? Has recruitment into our security services now become business? Well, it appears so. If not, why else would we insist on this senseless process? Why should we continue to sell forms to poor people who scrape together the money just to have a chance, then only to be screened out on one day, day one, without refund? These young people save for months. Some of them borrow from friends or use their last coins only to die on the floor of a stadium. It is heartbreaking. It is wicked. And the worst part of all of this, fellow Ghanaians, is that nothing about this was unforeseeable. We knew thousands would turn up. We knew there was no proper crowd control. We knew there were not enough medics or ambulances. We knew the sun would be unforgiving. We still went ahead. That is negligence. And it's not just negligence of one individual or two, but by an entire system that has decided that the lives of the poor don't matter as much as the convenience of the powerful. Why must we keep doing this? This world has moved on. Countries now recruit their armed forces online. There are proper systems for digital registration, online verification, biometric screening, and regional level physical assessments that are conducted in small batches. Why must we continue to behave as if computers are ornaments and not tools? This is 2025. We cannot still be lining up people, such huge number of people, and calling that recruitment. We must immediately end this madness. The sale of recruitment forms must also be scrapped immediately. The cost of recruitment should be part of the armed forces budget, not extracted from these poor people, so many of them jobless and seeking to serve their country. If recruitment is a public service, then it must be financed as one. Charging citizens to serve their own country and treat them like what we've seen at El-Wak is shameful. The military must also explain how it plans to reform this process. It must answer why this tragedy happened, who approved the logistics, how many people were supposed to be at El-Wak, and what emergency measures were in place. The investigation must not be one of those cosmetic exercises where we read reports, we go on, and then just move on. We must hold people accountable. Those who plan this mess have to answer for it. There is also a big moral question to look at. Why do we only treat tragedy seriously when it happens to the elite? When accidents kill 10 school children, we mourn for a day and move on. When 6 women die trying to serve their country, it becomes another statistic. We must stop pretending to be shocked when these things happen, because we create the very conditions that make them inevitable. These young women die because the system is cruel. It takes from the poor and gives nothing back. It sells them a dream, collects their money, and then abandons them to chaos. They died not because they were weak or unfit, but because the system they believed in did not actually value their very lives. And yet we continue. The recruitment exercise will now be suspended for a few days, perhaps weeks. There will be statements of condolences, as we've seen, even on the floor of Parliament, a minute of silence. We had one in Parliament. And then we move on, business as usual. This must not happen this time. If this country still has some conscience, then this must mean enough. Every recruitment exercise must now be fully digitized. Applicants should register online, upload their documents, and be invited in small, manageable batches. Those who genuinely cannot access digital platforms should be assisted at district offices, where trained staff can help them apply safely. There must be health and safety officers, medical teams, water stations, and crowd control measures in place. Never again should we see bodies being carried out of recruitment grounds. Fellow Ghanaians, we must also demand a full audit of the sale of forms. How much money has been made over the years? Where did the money go? And whether they've actually ever been accounted for. If the sale of forms has become a revenue machine for certain officials, then that must be exposed and it must be punished. Public service cannot be run like some side private business. And then, fellow Ghanaians, we need to look ourselves in the mirror. We have built a society where young people die chasing the smallest chance of survival, where those in authority feed on the desperation of citizens, and where systems are designed for profit, not for the people. We are not unlucky, we are just unjust. These 6 young women and the many others who have suffered in similar tragedies did not have to die. They wanted to live, they wanted to serve, they wanted to earn an honest living. They stood in line with hope, and then this country betrayed them. Their blood now cries out for accountability. And may this be the last time ever that we send our brothers and sisters, your children, to their deaths in the name of opportunity. May this tragedy shake us into decency. May it force those in authority to understand that the poor must have dignity too, and their lives matter just as anyone else's. We must not mourn and forget. We must mourn and change. These 6 people, we don't know their names. We must know their names. These were lives, these were stories, these were family members, brothers, sisters, daughters. In fact, they were all female. So no brothers, daughters, sisters, friends of people who, out of the desperation of the unimaginable unemployment crisis we've created, trooped out there. You've seen the videos, you've seen the people lined up there in white and black with envelopes in hand, in the sun, trying to serve their country, only to meet their death. Good morning, fellow Ghanaians.